Hi guys, Tom and Jamie here again for our Friday podcast, Keeping Fit and Healthy During Lockdown, episode 2. So we're going to start off this week by just seeing what we've both been up to. So first off to you, Jamie, what have you been up to this week? Have you been keeping yourself fit? And yeah, just give the viewers a little bit of what you've been doing.
Yeah, hi Tom. Yeah. Usual. I just first before we start, just like to say thanks for everyone who tuned in because we've had a really good response, loads of views and a few messages, and I don't think we quite expected it, to be honest with you. So just like to thank everyone for that.
Yeah,
I think maybe if we get that successful, we perhaps start bringing a theme tune because we can't be a podcast without a theme tune.
We'll
So
sing
something
it.
I thought we might add in. send what you think we should start with, but yeah, busy week really. Actually, couple of hours down the centre this week. We had the blood service in, full days, 2 full days down there. It was surprisingly absolutely rammed down there. I think they were fully booked,
Right.
which is great, especially during the times. And so a couple of days down the centre. Been training well this week. Been happening the mileage, and then due to the subject we were going to come on today, so I done a bit of heavy lifting to feel the pain of the subject of building muscle this week. So
Yeah.
So I could put something in. But yeah, it's been a busy week. It's been good. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Been down the centre a few times. We've been having a few issues in the plant room in Tredegar. But yeah, it's keeping busy. And I think, going to work as well, a few of my virtual meetings, it sort of, I'm in a different frame of mind when I'm in the facility. I think, I just maybe is obviously when you're in the house, you've got the kids and you've got your day-to-day life to manage at the same time as doing your work. But it's sort of, I seem to have got quite a lot done this week, putting obviously a few presentations together for future discussions, and just sort of re-educating myself as well about a few bits. And
Yeah.
obviously I think we both discussed it when we were actually discussing the presentation that we're going to go through today about building strength. And I think you can't believe how much you sort of forget after you've done your qualifications. I've when I done my personal training level 3 and strength and conditioning level 4, it's crazy how much has gone out of my mind. But actually sitting down and reading back through my manuals, it's like, geez, I don't do any of this. So pretty much the same as you, mate. I thought, right, okay, I could have given my muscles a bit of a tester this week. So I wanted to practice what I was preaching before going through today's presentation. So it's been good, been busy, and just the way I like it, really. But yeah, just to give a bit of an update on the centres, I think people might have seen the post that was put out by our marketing team about the good news stories around Aneurin Leisure at the moment. Obviously, Jamie alluding to the fact that we had the Welsh blood service in for blood donations down in Abtillery. Ebervale Sports Centre has been housing a few schools, which is great to see, the crossover between us and the council. Obviously, I think you discussed as well, Jane, that a few of the schools were inquiring about Abtillery as well. All right?
Yeah. But help out for the council looking to help out with the packages. They inquired it, and I know the school messaged me earlier with regards to looking at using the 3G while they're in. So hopefully some of the facilities getting at least used, because it's a shame because we've got such good facilities that are not being used at the minute. So it'd be nice to see them being used, and hopefully being used by customers and public and you guys soon. So yeah, that's the aim.
Yeah, definitely. And and going over those good news stories, obviously, the new change rooms that have been done down in Abtillery, which is great, with the money that was passed to us by the Free Swim Initiative, capital funding. So that was great, and thanks to them, and education, obviously, for their in-kind contribution. Tredegar Sports Centre and the new 3G, which I've actually got a picture of. just to show you all what we can welcome you back to.
It
So
looks
I
great.
bet a few of the Tredegar clubs are going to be excited about that, which is fantastic. And Evervale, obviously there were a few issues before going off with the change room, so they're being rectified as we speak. They've had solar panels added to the facility as well, so that's great for us and our consumption of electricity. And obviously the 3G, the training pitches have just been done back up. So yeah, some really good news stories behind the scenes. And like we said in the last discussion, you know, there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes. So yeah, hopefully we can give you some information soon about reopening, but yeah, still a work in progress at the moment. So going on to our main topic today, after the poll, which we put out last Friday, building strength was the top of the pile. So that is what we're going to discuss today. And we're going to discuss it by means of a presentation. So I'm going to share that with you guys now. So yeah, building strength, blueprint behind building strength. So just going over the first slide, what is strength? It's defined as the amount of physical exertion of force your body can put on an object. So we know in the weights room is how heavy you can lift. You know, a lot of the guys is all about the biceps and chest. I think it's always bicep and chest day down in Absolutely, Jamie, isn't it?
Yeah, t-shirt muscles, especially on a Friday and Saturday morning.
Yeah, we gotta love those few compound exercises.
Best day to do legs, Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
No one else is using it.
We know it's not International Chest Day those days. So strength adaptations can be achieved through the production of contractile proteins. I know this is going into a bit of depth, but actin and myosin deep inside the muscle fibers. So it's recruitment of those that necessarily increases strength. Increasing strength by undertaking periodized strength training programs and sufficient nutrition plan to increase protein. So it's one of those things that me and Jamie has just discussed. You know, we've got our own way of training. Myself is power, which is obviously strength and speed. Jamie is more stamina and cardiovascular, but obviously you keep yourself quite strong as well, Jamie.
Yeah, I hit the weights 3 times a week. I tend to, yeah, it's as you go through. Mine's all about change, so I kind of change my routine every 2 weeks, so it doesn't give my body time to adapt. So yeah, that's kind of the key for me is a 2 week 2 week cycle, every change in it. So
yeah, so that periodization, just changing up to shock your body into adaptation.
Yeah.
Cool. Strength can be increased in beginners by practicing the movement. So I think that's a misconception by a lot of people. Form is a lot to do with the amount you can lift. You know, it isn't all about size and your muscle size. You know, it is about how you lift that biomechanically. So you know that's something that obviously when we're back, or even if we can help virtually, it is something that we can discuss with our customers too. And it can also be increased, like we said, technique and form, but also with the amount you lift, the reps, the sets, and basically, you know, putting a program together that is going to get what you set out to do. So hitting your goals, really. Which leads us on to the next slide, which is strength versus size, because some people, another misconception is size equals strength, but that's not necessarily true. It is the power to weight ratio. So yeah, it depends what you can lift at the size you are, and that will equal your power to weight ratio. So as we said about strength is the amount of force your muscle can exert against an object. So like we said, is lifting a barbell or a dumbbell. Muscle size can be built through increasing contractile proteins, actin and myosin, and that's called myofibrillar hypertrophy. So that's a bit of a mouthful. So the brain's getting a bit of a workout there. But strength is built through practice, so the most efficient biomechanical movement. And what we mean by that is a chest press a lot of people, it's just moving a weight from your chest upwards. But it's the way you move it, the timings you move it, where your elbows are biomechanically. There's so many different variations of the way to lift: wide grip, narrow grip, what section of the chest you're working. And I keep going back to chest because it's everyone's favorite muscle, I think, and isn't it, Jim?
What are you trying to say, Thomas?
I know Jamie loves chest. I've seen him in the weights room a few times. A muscular growth, again, it comes down to form, but it's also volume training. So it's the amount of sets, repetitions, and intensity. Whereas strength is more to do with the intensity. So the weight you lift to build strength. But that can only be achieved by doing the things necessary to be able to lift that weight in the first place.
And what we mean with like strength versus size example, it's not, like you said, it's not how heavy you're lifting, it's pound for pound what you lift against your own body weight. So I'm showing my age a bit now. For example, I know many years ago, George Gregan, the rugby player, he was a scrum half, so he was the smallest player in the Australian squad, yet pound for pound, he was the strongest man in the Australian squad because he was lifting above his own body weight compared to others lifting above their body weight. So I know people think, oh, the more you lift, the stronger you are. It's not necessarily what you lift against your own body weight, which is key. Yeah. So that's just something to think about. And another thing with size is a misconception, because we're talking about misconceptions, is women think they get muscular, but they don't have, like, you need testosterone to be able to get big. So, women won't get bodybuilding size unless they take some form of steroids or supplements that would enhance or push those testosterone in. So for those women, don't worry about getting big when you're doing weights, because doing weights, especially for women, are really, really good for toning and core, and losing weight is fab. So I know a lot of women are scared of doing weights, but it's probably one of the best things you could bring into your routine with good CV.
Yeah. So obviously, is your body going through that anabolic phase, which obviously, which Jamie was alluding to then. Muscle is built through more anabolic work, which is lifting heavy weights really often, which is the misconception. Obviously, if you want to tone, it would be time under tension. So, more muscular endurance, and even working into the hypertrophy, which we'll come on to shortly.
Time and tension, fab.
Yeah. So just going on to 5 laws of fitness. Body basics, that's the foundation of the pyramid we talk about within fitness. And this is bodyweight training, or calisthenics, which, is an old form of training, Jane, but do you still do a lot of bodyweight training?
Yeah, I try to incorporate bodyweight training within my weight sessions. So I'll bring it in towards kind of either depending on what cycle. So whether it'll be 1 or 2 exercises on each muscle group in it, or I'll have a one day where it will just be body exercises, and then sometimes I'll introduce a little bit more weight to the body exercises. So, weighted vests, plates on back, etc. But yeah, it's before weights and cavemen, and this is kind of fundamental training and how we started, and we shouldn't forget it, really.
Yeah. And one of the things for that, it can in turn increase the volume and intensity which you train at with weights, and it's probably a lot better for your flexibility and mobility, which in turn helps your biomechanics to lift the weights as well. And what you sort of just led us on there, James, to progressive overload, which is increasing the work capacity over a period of time. So increasing sets, reps, and intensity over a periodized program, which is what we've just spoke about. But obviously, we've said you've done the body weight exercise, and then you've added weighted vests or plates just to sort of increase the muscle tension.
And it's the reason why the forces still use it. If it isn't broken, you don't change it. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly. And like I said, there's a reason body basics is at the bottom of the pyramid. everyone needs it, but sometimes they try to jump onto the next step of the pyramid before getting that done first. And, you know, I'm one of those guys that's probably done that. You know, I think natural ability takes you so far. So you think, oh, I am going to work on that base level. But, you know, looking back in hindsight now, I wish I did, because, you know, I think obviously my career probably may have gone in a different direction if I had concentrated more on that section of the pyramid. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, I guess, isn't it? So building specific skill, and this is where obviously you start to focus in more on what you're trying to achieve or what your goal is. So, you know, if your goal is building strength, obviously you would look at an intensity program. So, you know, a small amount of sets and reps, and increased recovery time between. And obviously, you know, that it's because you're working within that ATP-PC or lactate energy system. So without oxygen. And yeah, you need a lot more time to recover from that, James. And probably after a few heavy lifting sessions, you felt your body struggling for that energy, I guess.
Yeah, of course. That's what, like, you know, as you said, the recovery in between is massive. It's all about lifting, you know, close to your max as much as you can, rather than tiring over and having to lower the weight. And that's what, you know, building strength is about. Is trying to go to as close as your max as you can, or depending on what percentages you are working on that day. Yeah. And it's tough. Hence why the rest is a lot higher than anything else when it comes to weight training. To be fair. And, you know, I mean, the way you train, you're all about maxing out and recovering a lot longer. So you probably do this a lot more than me. I tend to not, because I train for more endurance and stamina. So I tend to cut out the long rest, the weights, where you're all about maxing, jumping as high as you can every time, sprinting as fast as you can every time. So definitely, you know, some for yourself, you would know a lot more about this than me, because that is the way you train.
Yeah, and, you know, it comes down to a lot of plyometric ability and ballistics as well, which, you know, plyometrics is working through the concentric and eccentric contraction and trying to push yourself into the air basically with every movement you do, making it as fast as you can. And it's the same as ballistics as well. You know, I use ballistics through medicine ball circuits. So basically it's taking a weight and trying to speed up during the concentric movement of the actual exercise. So, you know, I do a lot of it, but yeah, it does take a lot of time to recover. And, you know, sometimes you try and fit it in, and, you know, it leads us on to recovery, which is the next law of fitness. You do need that recovery to build that system back up before you can go at that intensity again. And that's totally relevant for strength training. So, you know, recovery is a neglected area. You know, your body, even after a session, it can take up to 48 hours to totally recover. Myself and Jamie have done a few crazy challenges, which we discussed in the last podcast. And it's taken a lot longer than 48 hours to recover, that's for sure.
Oh, that's, yeah, you know, recovery is key there. You know, your muscles build while you recover and while you sleep, and rest and sleep are huge when it comes to building strength or building muscle. It's kind of one of the key opponents where people kind of neglect it massively, like you put down. And yeah, you rest and listen to your body. Your body knows better than anything. Is a reason why it's telling you to kind of chill out a bit, you know, have your rest days, get your nutrition right. All of it is key.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, it's got it in there, repair, adapt and recover. You know, that's why sleep is so essential, what you put into your body via nutrition, and, you know, getting your calories in as well.
Which I believe you're struggling with at the minute is sleep, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah. We just had a discussion before we went live, and yeah, it was a difficult night last night. Very broken sleep pattern. So I'm really tired today, but again, it's not going to stop me training, you know, recover, get the nutrition in now, hydrate, and I'll be ready to train later.
I slept like a dream, if that helps.
Oh, cheers, James. Thanks for
No
that.
problem.
Yeah,
In fact, I actually got up later than I normally do. I don't quite know what was going on, but I must have known it was just to wind you up today. I think.
yeah. I'll be asking you the same questions, James, next year.
I got. I'm going off the grid after
Yeah.
the baby born. Zoom, internet, every social media is going out, so I don't have to talk to anyone.
So the last one is the law of more as well. So when your body gets to that place where it has adapted to the demands you placed on it, is increasing it, increasing what you're doing, which in turn will increase your sleep, your nutrition, the volume of water you take in. It's one of those things where people they wonder why they don't improve any further, and it's because they don't place any more demand on their body, which I think is another misconception or myth. You've got to keep doing more to be able to lift more, sprint faster, jump higher, whatever your chosen goal is. You need to keep continuously improving. Would you agree with that, James?
Yeah, and it's whether you max at the volume or the reps. So if you're squatting, I don't know, 40k, for 3 weeks, and then for 5 times each time, add a bit more weight, and if you can only manage 3 times, and then build up to 5 times over another 3 weeks or 4, and then add a weight. You don't necessarily have the weight and the reps at the same time. Weight is the key, and then building back up to those reps will naturally come when you get used to the weight load. So don't be put off if you go heavier but you can't quite get the reps. That's what it's designed for. If you're putting heavy on, if you're putting more weight on and you get into exactly the same amount of reps you were on the last set, and you probably didn't have enough weight on anyway to kind of to build strength, you need to put more weight on. If you don't get that reps, don't panic. It will get it, but then that's where you need to build up to. And then when you get to those reps, then add a bit more weight on, and then drop down the reps, and so on. And it's continual improvement, and that is kind of the best way to build your strength.
Yeah,
in terms
definitely.
of that. And that's just going for squat, and that works for every muscle group or whatever exercise you do.
Totally agree, James. It's one of those things where it is mindset. It's like, I can't possibly do any more. Where you probably can. You just need to tinker with things. Bring your rep range down or your set range down, or just add 1 rep. If you've been doing 3 sets consistently, add 1 rep for 1 more set, and just leave it there and build up to 2 next time, then 3. So it's so many different variations that you can put into a training plan to help you increase strength. And that's what we're here for. Is if you do have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section, and we'll be happy to answer them. So just a design of a general strength training program. I think one of the most important things, and it is always overlooked, and I think people think, let's just get to the gym before actually having a goal in mind. You've got to have a goal in mind, and it's got to be a SMART goal. So it's got to be specific, it's got to be measurable, achievable, realistic, and time phased. Otherwise you're always destined to fail with anything you set out to do. You've got to have it there, and that's got to be the reason why you keep going to the gym every day or every other day. And also your body analysis, it's usually what you want to achieve, a change in your body size, tone, losing weight, gaining weight, whatever it may be. So you need to be honest with yourself as well, and give yourself a true account of where you are, so you can see the improvements week on week. And it's something that we do in the centers is Tanita testing, or body composition analysis, and is a great starting block, James. We've done it for a few companies around Blaenau Gwent, and it's gone really well. I think customers can really get a lot out of it. I know you've done a few.
Yeah, I use it myself, to be honest with you, and it's quite popular within the sports centres. It's great. There's no hiding. It's really honest. It kind of tells you your weaknesses as well as your strengths. It tells you where you're good at, where you're bad at. In fact, I bought one for the house because I'm a big advocate of it. So I get on it every week and kind of analyse where I go, and then I can tweak whether that's nutrition side of it or training side of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's fab. And then when we are up and running, especially, come in and get it done, especially if you're a member. It's free as part of your membership. It's crazy not to, and it is really, really good. And like you say, goal set and accountability that we talked about last week. And, you know, if you're not got a goal or you're not aiming towards something, you're kind of just there, you're plateauing. And I know we had a few comments with regards to kind of motivation lost, and it's kind of remembering what goals you set. I got little tweaks, like I got a picture of me when I was overweight on the fridge. So kind of every time I go to the fridge, I have a quick look, and then do I go for that bar of chocolate, or perhaps I go for a piece of fruit instead? Yeah. But it's what goes for you. Another one that works for me is the calendar, crossing the calendar of the days have been good, the days have been bad. And then suddenly when you start seeing a couple of X's when you've been bad, that's psychological trigger again. And it's lots of things, but yeah, the Tanita, really, really good machine. Silly not to say it's part of your membership. Give it a go. There's loads of guys trained, and it's good to be measured, and don't over obsess with it. You know, once a month is more than enough.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing Pacific training, you know, i.e. you're a bodybuilder and going towards a competition. But yeah, definitely when we're open, give it a go, guys. It's really, really good. Really, really good machine.
Definitely is, you know, and myself and Jamie both use it. It's great for goal setting. You know, we're quite specific with our goals, really, because obviously, you know, we train to compete, or, you know, to put time down or break a PB. So yeah, it's always good to say, right, okay, I'm going to peak at this point because that's the race or the competition that I want to peak at. So yeah, give it a go, guys. It can really help you achieve your goals. So training, programming, and planning. So, you know, it's having a program in mind, and not just come to the gym and floating thinking I'll have 5 minutes on there, 5 minutes on there. It's great to get yourself, get your knowledge up about the gym, but you know, having that plan, knowing what you're doing before you go in, is really important to keep yourself motivated. And you can use the FIT principle, frequency, intensity, type, and time, or the SAID principle, which is specific adaptation to imposed demand. You can use all these different things to add into your program to be able to achieve that goal as well, while increasing volume, which is the amount you're doing, intensity, the amount you're lifting, and pre-program preparation, which is basically getting your body to a position where you're going to be able to see that mesocycle through, which would be potentially a 4 to 6 week training plan. Nutritional planning, we spoke about nutrition last week and the importance of it, especially during lockdown. It is what you put into your body is what you're going to get out of it, in essence. You know, you've got to have your fuel through your carbs and your fats, and fats as well, guys, especially for immunity at this time. It does boost immunity, so don't be scared of fats. You need fats, the good fats, the HDLs, high density lipids. You do need those. You need your micronutrients as well, through your vitamins and minerals, your phytochemicals. You know, all those sort of things. They are going to stop infections and viruses, and, you know, boost your immunity. And the most important one for strength building, which is protein, and increasing your protein intake. So a general rule of thumb for protein is 1 gram per kilograms of your body weight. So that's what you should be aiming for a good strength training program. Mental and physical preparedness, which is basically your mind has got to be as focused as your body is ready to train. You've got to be in that right frame of mind. Identifying weaknesses. So obviously we've all got weaknesses. There's no one out there that hasn't got a weakness, and it's working on those weaknesses. So, you know, unilaterally, rather than you know, so a squat is actually isolating the squat and looking at both legs, doing a, you know, where your strength is, where your weakness is, and sort of working on that. Consistency and adherence. So, you know, being consistent with your training and adhering to the program, so you're not missing out, and you're not kidding yourself either. Prehabilitation, which is basically your mobility, flexibility, and range of movement around your joints. And a training journal, just how you feel. I don't know if you use one of these, James, just to do with how you've trained, how you felt, how you've ate, and all those things, so you can sort of reflect. I don't know if you've done that in the past.
No. I note down everything I've done in training,
Yeah,
and I note down everything I eat in my fitness pal. I never actually put down how I felt that day, whether between a scale 1 to 10 how I felt before training, after training, during training. But
yeah,
definitely something that I'd probably look to. That's just, yeah, it's good to look back. Why did I have a good day lifting that day?
yeah,
How did I feel? How did I sleep? Why was I bad that day? Did I sleep bad? Did I eat bad? Is there
yeah.
consistency in the days I'm good? Is there consistency in the days I'm bad? Is something I can adapt my training to? But yeah, it's just something I'll take. But that's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah, it's it's something that I've always done, and I think from my coach, he wanted to know more about me so he could get the best out of me, and I think it was more for him at the start than me, whereas now it is for me. I'm accountable over what I do and what I can achieve. So yeah, I think it's a great help to just see and keep yourself motivated and disciplined as well. So coming on to the next slide, which is a typical program setup. So, it's basically a starting point for a beginner. You're looking at 2 to 3 days a week, working towards 5 to 6 days per week. I don't know how many days you train a week, James.
6 days a week.
6 days a week is same as me. So, and
Yeah.
guys, it's not something you start on. Training 6 days a week is something you build up to, so your body gets that adaptation to be able to train that many days a week. So yeah, beginners, we'd say 2 to 3 days a week to start off with rest in between the working days too. So training different muscle groups per day. You could do this in a variation of different ways, working the agonist and protagonist muscles. So bicep and tricep on the same day if that's your aims. Basic sets, that's what I've always used, James. I don't know about yourself. Basic sets or negatives for strength building, just due to the nature of working in the ATP PC system, which is primarily used for strength building, and is usually just the 3 to 10 seconds you'd be working on that really intense lift. So I don't know about you for strength training. What sort of sets did you do?
My cycle changes, like I said, every 2 weeks, so it's very similar exercises. They do vary,
Yeah,
and then the reps and the time and the tension will change within those 2 weeks.
yeah,
Just to constantly keep my body guessing, and like you say, with your 10 seconds, the time and attention. I think a case study has been done is something like 60% more productive time and attention than it would be where you see people rushing sets, because for example, you talked about chest earlier. On a chest press, pushing up is important, but coming down is just as important, and not just dropping it. So it is working at, pushing and pulling, hence why it is important both ways. It's not just a one directional. You work in different parts of the chest, up and down, and that's really key to building strength. The same as a squat. You don't just drop down and push up. You slowly anchor down, and then you drive up, and it hits different groups and works muscles in different ways, and your muscle memory will kick off a bit more, microfibers, etc. But yeah, totally with the time and attention massively.
Yeah, definitely. So set range for strength 1 to 3 sets, rep range 1 to 5, working between 85. Well, I'd say 75 to 90% of your 1 rep max. So it is finding out your 1 rep max as well. And recovery times are a bit longer as well for strength training, usually 3 to 5 minutes, just so your energy system does replenish and you can give that same intensity for the following sets. And even up to 10 minutes between exercises, and that's more to do with power training, which adds the speed in with strength. It's a longer rest time because you are working absolutely flat out, so it'd be the equivalent of your 1 rep max. so the main focus is on intensity, so the weight being lifted, using progressive overload, so increasing the rep sets and weight on a weekly, 2 weekly, or even a cycle basis. So Jamie's alluded to the fact he'll periodize over a 2 week period, and then he'll start to build up there, which is a great idea. Jamie, how's that gone for you over the lifetime of your training? How did you come about training like that?
I've only been doing the 2 week cycle now for probably about 6 months now, and it just keeps me more interested in training, in weight training, because I weight trained for years and then kind of started running, got fed up of the weight training, so kind of didn't bother for 6 to 8 months, and then got back into it, and then realized my running improved the more I lifted weights, because my core muscles, and I was taking a lot of, if your core, my legs are stronger, then it's taking more pressure off while I'm running. So I like to cycle. Generally, most people cycle about every 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. The fitter you are, the more you need to cycle, because the more your body will adapt quicker to the exercises. So I purely just do it in a 2 weeks preference, just because it keeps it fresh and I don't get bored, and I look forward to training. And trying, where there's different reps, different techniques, different exercises. And I generally, that's the way I train, because it just suits me and it gets me excited, gets me motivated, and remember why I'm there. But that's me. What about yourself?
I've always worked on a 4 week mesocycle with a rest week on the fourth week, which would be 1 rep max testing with longer recovery, so more rest days. So working only on 3 to 4 days a week rather than 6 days a week. So it's always worked for me, and I think it's something you just need that progressive week as well, just to show, okay, the training I've done, my 1 rep max has increased from the previous 4 weeks. So it's being accountable for your actions, and if you haven't put the effort in during those 3 weeks, you're probably not going to get an increase, and even a decrease maybe in your 1 rep max, which is you don't want when your coach is chasing you around the track. And a big part of the program setup is just the amount of calories, walk calories, and aiming for maintenance or surplus to increase strength, and the surplus would be definitely in protein, increasing your protein intake. So I did say 1 gram per kilo of body weight, but you could even be looking to 2 to 3 grams just to really boost build some size, which in turn it can generally build strength because you've got more body weight to be able to push that weight. It's what you put into your body, that's what you get out of it.
And don't neglect the carbs, because at the end of the day, you need your carbs for your energy. If you're going to lift these heavy weights, you're going to need that sort of energy to put into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said last week, I was very high on carbs. My last training block, 70%. So it's down now. I've increased my protein intake just to get a bit more strength, but it's still quite a high carb load in. So coming on to this is an example of a strength training program. 1 to 3 sets, 3 to 4 variations of exercise, repetitions in the range of 1 to 5, and rest periods 3 to 5 minutes between interset. So mixing up between concentric, eccentric, and isometric contractions, which I'll come on to in the next slide. But this is basically, Monday chest, shoulders, and triceps. A lot of people use Mondays as International Chest Day, but they'll do 200 different variations of chest exercise. But it's just mixing it up and adding a little bit more in, doing your compound exercises. So the 3 main are deadlifts, squats, and chest press, but you can also put rows in there with pull-ups as well. It's sort of compound exercises working on other muscle groups while specifying on one certain muscle group. Tuesday, back and biceps. Wednesday, legs, because there's so many variations of leg exercise you can do, working the agonist and protagonist muscles, and then repeating the cycle. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I put legs and a bit of calisthenics in there as well, so body weight workout, but slow, controlled, so you're not sort of working into endurance. You lose weight, which can in turn lose muscle mass too, and rest on a Sunday, ready to repeat on the Monday. So obviously, we said it's building up from 2 to 3 days. So, it would probably be the chest, shoulders, triceps, back and biceps and legs for a beginner. And then you'd have the rest days in between. And then working up to something like this, which is working for 6 days a week. And then we've just got a few tips for you guys to look at as well to build a stronger body. So increasing strength, increasing volume to achieve overload, more sets, more reps, more intensity, which is more weights, and also better form, which is something that working with a personal trainer or fitness instructor that they can help you on that. More calories, said about the 1 gram of protein, more water, staying hydrated, which helps with muscle recovery and digestion, and more sleep, because that is where the muscles grow. I know Jamie had a few bits down as well for tips for muscle building and strength.
Yeah, you kind of touched it in, like I say, with the water. I think the study's been done. If you're properly hydrated before weightlifting, during and after, it could be about 25% more productive. Like you said, got on the sleep. The sleep is key. 7 is good, but 8 plus is ideal, because it gives you gives your body more time. I also mentioned about not forgetting your core muscles. A good way to get, if you get your core stronger, you will physically get stronger anyway, because you've got a good baseline to build off. So not forgetting about your core, and you've already touched on about flexibility and mobility. The more flexible, mobile you are, the easier it is to lift the weights, the heavier weight. You don't see heavy lifters doing kind of stretching, mobility exercises, yoga, yet they would probably benefit more than anyone. Swimming's another good way to build muscle. I don't know whether I know you're a big fan of Eddie Hall.
Yeah.
Massive swimmer, big swimmer. I think he was kind of, when he was back in school, I think he was quite high up, wasn't he? I think he won a competition, international level, which you wouldn't think for a guy who's 28 stone and world's strongest man 2017. But yes, mixing it up, there's no one size fits all. But it's finding out what, we're not telling you what to do to achieve. We're giving you ideas and ways you look to benefit you. If we haven't walked up and worked out, right, this is the best way we've trained. It's taken us years to figure it out. So don't be disheartened or put down if you don't get it right first time, because trust us, neither of us have got it right first time. I'm still getting it wrong now, and it's all about learning. But that's part of what I enjoy. The journey is learning, and just keep at it, guys, because you will find what works for you, and it will work for you, and that's what it is, really.
Yeah, no, I concur with everything there, mate. You're always a work in progress. You'll never reach perfection. Even the guys that got the world records in certain disciplines, they would say, I didn't perfect it. And it's true, you are always a work in progress. So remember that, and you can always keep building on what you've achieved. And it doesn't matter your age either, because, Jamie has gone into long distance running after basically being a rugby player most of your life, James.
Yeah, just a sprinter. I was kind of I worked on 10, 20, 30 meter sprints, and that's because that's all I ever really needed. And then kind of fell into long distance running, where generally half marathons is kind of my distance.
Yeah, and it's something you've PB'd in pretty much every time you've gone out for a race as well, isn't it?
It jinx me now. Yeah, every race I've had a PB. So, but I've not been doing it. I've only been doing it 2 years. So
yeah.
But again, with the running, I find I run better when I weight train. When I stop, I kind of plateaued a bit, and I know a lot of runners out there kind of neglect strength training.
Yeah.
And when my times are a lot faster, then people ask me, it's purely down to because I'm strength training. Your legs won't thank you for it, because it's horrendous going out for long runs with heavy legs.
Yeah.
I had leg session Wednesday, and running yesterday was just absolutely brutal, but it had to get done, but it's made me better. My times are a lot better during lockdown while I've been hitting the strength training. So it's not just for those that want to get big, those that want to build strength. It's for everything, really. Strength, everything in life. You need some form of strength, whether it's pushing, pulling, picking up, carrying boxes, helping out with the children. It's something probably some people neglect, and something that definitely makes your life easier. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And coming on to the last point is the types of muscle contraction. So we said in the last slide, there's 3 muscle contractions you can work on for strength training. So isometric, concentric, and eccentric. Isometric is where the muscle contracts in a static position and held for a period of time. And the best example of this is a plank. Obviously, you're holding your body in that one position, and the contraction primarily in your core muscles, transverse abdominis. So yeah, that's an isometric contraction. You can do it in different variations with any exercise, basically. Concentric contraction is where the muscle contracts and shortens. So an example of that would be lifting a dumbbell during a bicep curl at the top, where the muscle is shortening. That is the concentric movement of the movement dumbbell curl. And the eccentric is where the muscle contracts when you lengthen the muscle back down. And the eccentric movement has been shown to reduce injury in the muscles. So adding eccentric contractions, so slowly lowering the weight back down, that has been scientifically proven to reduce injuries in the muscle too. So working in those 3 contraction areas, it's mixing things up. Your body has to adapt, and by adapting, it's going to get stronger because it needs to, because it's never been in that position before. So your brain starts to hit more neural pathways into your muscle, and that's where strength, size, and improvements are made. So remember to mix it up, and speak to ourselves, put in the comments box if you do have any questions about what we've gone through today. Please send them across to us. I know this is a bit of a longer conversation today because we're going through the presentation. But realistically, we want to know your thoughts, guys. If you want the presentation, put it in the comments box, and you can email us and we can send that across to you. So you've got a bit of a base to work with for a strength training program. And even ourselves, guys, we're more than happy to have a conversation with you and help you in whichever way you want. If it's advice, nutritional advice, strength advice, whatever, that's what we're here for. And, we'll be happy to help. Great to have you guys in. As Jamie said at the start, we didn't think it'd be this many to start off with. So we're really appreciative of that. I know we've gone over a bit on the time, so we're going to keep the questions for next week. And there's a few good questions come in. Please feel free to send the questions over, guys. There is going to be another poll going out today with probably a few added areas on there. So remember to vote on that. But yeah, that's it from me today, guys. So really appreciate you joining us, and thank you. And I'll hand over to Jamie now.
Yeah, great presentation. I can't put my name to that, Tom. I've spent a lot of time doing it, so cheers for that, mate. This, to be honest, there's a few things I picked up, which is great, and that's what it's about. It's about learning and knowledge. Just like to thanks for those who are listening, and we are getting your questions, and it's been an enjoyable experience actually. Hearing off you guys, so keep messaging in, and hopefully we can get back to you and talk about some of the areas, because I know we've discussed a few areas we'd like to bring up. So weight loss and mental health was a big one, and so hopefully we'll be able to cover all those in the coming podcast. So yeah, thanks guys. I really appreciate your time in listening. So thank you very much.
We'll see you on episode 3, guys.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.